everybody, this is T with Kate's Crafty Closet with another holiday card for the Christmas season. So we're going to do a little bit of actually alcohol marker coloring today, and I'm going to forewarn you, I am not an expert at this. I just kind of go with it and I don't stress about it, and I just have fun with it. So stay tuned and watch and see, and maybe hopefully you learn something from it. So this is our card that we're going to make today. All right, so the first thing I went ahead and did is, this is going to be a standard A2 size card, top folding. This means that it's measured by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, and we'll put that to the side for a moment. And then today we're using this stamp set from Maymaymadeit called Snow Peeking. We're going to use this larger snowman over here, and then we're going to use a sentiment that says there's snow one like you. So I'm going to put that to the side, and then we went ahead and did, this is just some black and white plaid paper. I die cut that using the MFT A2 size stitched rectangle die, which is the largest one in the pack. So I'm going to need that for our background. Then I have this is a zigzag stitched square dies from MFT, and I use the third and fourth one. The third one is going to be the piece of white, and then the fourth one is going to be a piece of red cardstock. And then lastly, you're going to need a piece of black cardstock that is measured 4 inches and then 1 3/4. So that's going to be pretty much all the measurements and stuff that we're going to need in today's card. So let's go ahead and kind of put together some of the elements before we do the coloring aspect of it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that plaid paper. I'm going to grab this black strip. Okay, I'm going to put some liquid adhesive on the black strip of cardstock. Like I said, this is 1 3/4 by 4 inches. You can make it any size you want, you know, lengthwise, but horizontal. And the glue doesn't want to come out. And now it wants to come out too much. All right, that's when we just go in with our handy dandy finger tool. Okay, and I'm just going to place this about as centered as I possibly can, and all the way to the edge as I possibly can. And my other card, I made it a little bit off. It was not all the way to the edge, but I fixed it. I just went ahead with the black marker and just colored it in, and you wouldn't have known if I wouldn't have told you, right? All right, so we have that one done. All right, so we're going to adhere this to the front of our card, because there's not really anything else that we need to do with this piece, because the other stuff we will just glue down. Again, the glue is being a little temperamental tonight. Okay, and I'm just going to line this up and center this up to the best of my ability. And I'm going to say winner, winner. I'm going to go with that. All right, just hold it down for a second. All right, and the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to bring out, I already have my stamps positioned on my stamping tool. So let's go ahead and do the snowman. So I'm going to put this in the corner, and then I'm going to use a magnet right there. And I'm going to ink it up with my ink on 3 blackout ink, which is a great detail ink since I'm going to be Copic coloring today. It works perfectly fine with it. I'm just lightly tapping, and if I need to do a second pass, I'll be okay with that. Like, I'm not going to press too super hard because they got those little berries up there, and I don't want to squish them. Okay, magnet is in the way. So we're going to go ahead and stamp that a second time. All right, and I'll press a little bit harder this time around. And okay, those berries, just give them a little bit more of a So perfect, we have that done. And while we're here, we might as well go ahead and bring in our card and stamp that sentiment, which I should have used a different, I did a different card before, so it's not positioned in the right spot. So let's go ahead and put that in the corner. And we're going to put our stamp right there. Bring our magnets up. Close the lid. Pick that stamp up. All right. And we're going to ink it up with the same black ink. And then, like, I don't push down super hard because you can smudge and smush that stamp. All right, so we need to do another pass at that. That's the wonderful thing about using positioners. You can go in and do that. All right. I'm going to give it a little bit more pressure. And then I'm perfectly okay with that. All right, so we're done with stamping. And we can put that to the side, let it dry. So now we're going to do our coloring. And it's like, I don't really, do a lot of alcohol marker coloring. I tell you, if you're new to it, just do one color like we did in kindergarten. Color with one color. So I am going to go ahead and adhere, so I have a little bit more surface room. I'm going to head and adhere it to that red piece. So it's easier for me to move around, because when I color, I have to move my paper, not the marker, because I just have to see. That's just how I do it. Like, do you turn your paper when you do that too, or can you do your marker as well? So now we're going to go ahead and adhere this to that red piece. Do the best that I can to center it. Okay, I'm okay with that. Let it grab a second. Close my glue up for the time being. Okay. Now the first thing I'm going to go in and do is, like, the snowman, yes, white, but you're going to put a little shadow on it. So I'm going to go ahead and use the C2, which is a cool gray, and I'm just going to color. I'm just going to do that light source I know nothing about, so I don't stress it out. So I'm just putting shadows on the snowman itself. And remember, based on your paper, it will dry back. I will always say this: it will be, it will look worse before it looks better, and I promise you on that. It will look worse before it looks better. And then don't forget his little arm right here, and then I'm going to do gray on that hat. Okay, and then when you got the most small spots, tap really lightly. And don't go always to the edge of the line, because these markers will bleed, especially if they are super saturated. So just be careful with that. So then you can always go back and add more color to it. It's like I always say, less is more. So now let's go ahead in with the green. I'm using two greens today. This is going to be your YG03 and YG09. So I'm just going to put the YG03 down because that's the lighter of the two. And I don't want to go all the way to the edge, so I just really quickly color that in, because then I'm going to go back and blend them. Just remember that your blending pen is technically not to blend, it's to lighten up color. And I made that berry green. That's not what I wanted to do. See how you make a mistake, but the reds will cover that up, so not concerned about that. All right, so I'm going to go in with the next color, the darker one, the YG09, and we're just going to, this is where I'm going to go to the edge and pull it out. Okay, and then, like I said, this is where I turn my markers. I mean my paper, not my marker. Okay. Like I said, I'm not an expert like this. Just have fun with it. I would have to say I was afraid of playing with alcohol markers too in the beginning. But, you know, it's okay. This is what I'm just going to dab on because that's a small area. Okay? Then go back in with that lighter color, and this is where the blending and the magic starts. And you'll see that it'll all just kind of smooth itself over. And this is where you wait, come back to it. If you think it needs some more blending, you just blend it more. It's like completely 100% up to you how many times you think it needs to be blended, because it will soak into that paper. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to add a little bit more up here. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is the reds. We're going to do the mitten and the berries in the red. My reds I'm using today are going to be R24 and R27. So that means I'm just going to go in with my R24 and just give it a little bit of color. See how I can cover up that green from that mistake I made earlier, and see how we have coverage in there. But that's going to be black, so I'm not concerned about that part. But if I did, I would just go in with that blending tool and pen and just push that ink out. So then we're going to come in with the R27, and I'm just going to do the best that I can with this one as well, because then we're going to come in with the lighter color and blend them together. Like this one, I just dab a little bit. Okay, got that one little spot there that doesn't want to grab. Okay, now I'll go back in with that lighter color. I'm going to put a little bit of that darker color onto that as well, on our berries. So I'll bring it back in just a moment. So this is the lighter color to blend. All right, I guess, there we go. Let me grab that dark and give the berries just a little bit of highlights. Just dab, dab, dab. Okay. Then we're going to go in with like a yellow orange. This is YR23. This one I probably have to do 2 or 3 just to darken it up. So completely up to you as how dark or light you want it. Okay. Then we're going to give him some cheekies. This is R20. And I'm just going to do a circular motion and give him some little cheeks. Okay. Boom. And then we're going to come in with a black marker. This is a chameleon one that I have. Just trying to use with some mustache. And this was what I do when it comes down to these on the edges, because I don't want to go out of it. I dab because I'm not putting any other color on that black but the black. Okay, especially around the other colored images, I don't want to mess them up, so I'm just dabbing. And then in the center I can go ahead and just shade that in. Okay, and we have this little spot here. Okay, perfect. Then we have the brim of the hat. And like I said, that was that era. We had got that red outside the lines. This is going to cover it up, so we don't have to stress it out too much. All right, then we'll turn it. And then I'm going to, you know, dab because I don't want it to bleed. Okay. I'm going to take another look and see. Okay, got that little spot there. Got a little spot there. Okay. And then maybe a little bit up here. And that is that part. And I'm going to go in with that yellow orange again and give it another pass over. And so I'm liking the way it looks. And the last thing I'm going to do is I actually have some of this Spectrum Noir. This is the Spectrum Noir Sparkle. These are the ones that come in the pins, but this is in the liquid form. So we're going to go in and add some of that glitter on it. This is black. And we're just going to paint it with a water brush onto the hat. Like, I'm not going to, worry about covering that hat, and see how that we can just kind of fix that hat and make it a little bit bigger, and that's okay. It's like my brush slipped on me, and that happens. So I'm just going to grab a little bit more, and this is going to give it a sparkle. Okay. Just got to watch the bristles on that brush, because I just made my hat a little bit bigger than what it's supposed to be, but that's okay. Give it a little character. Okay. I'm not stressing that part out. I can go back and fix that a little bit when I have better lighting on it, but so far we're good. That stuff dries really quickly because it absorbs into the paper. So there is, not sure if the camera will pick up the sparkle, but there you go. Let's bring back in the card. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and add some liquid glue on there and apply that to the front of our card. Tap it to the side because the glue doesn't want to come out. There we go. All right, and do the best that I can to line him up in the center of the card. Okay, I'm okay with that. Then I'll hold it down for a second. Okay, there we go. And then I made this little bow earlier by using this punch that I have from Martha Stewart a long time ago. So I just went ahead and did that black bow with the red center, and I did put some of that Spectrum Sparkle over here on the edges of it before I put it together. So now I'm just going to go in with some more glue on the back of the bow. It's like a little bit too much glue, but that's okay. We'll just wipe it off, and we're going to put this onto the bottom of our card. This is just paper that we used in the card, so I'm going to hold that down and press while it does its little drying and adhering. So that is our card for today. I think I'll bring in the other one because it's a little bit flatter so it doesn't keep flipping on us. So that is a card. It's like not hard to do. The coloring is the most time-consuming part, but overall, pretty simple, pretty easy card. I'll do the best that I can to link all the products that I used today in the description box below. And make sure you check out my social media as well. Facebook group, Pinterest, Instagram, and also check out Facebook group, which I already said, right? Sorry about that. But anyway, so thank you all for joining me, and y'all have a crafty day, y'all.